The B-52J is the latest modernization of the iconic B-52 Stratofortress, a long-serving U.S. Air Force bomber first introduced in the 1950s. This upgrade, bypassing the I variant, includes new Rolls-Royce F-130 engines for improved efficiency and stealth, a new radar system from the F/A-18EF Super Hornet, and enhanced weapon capabilities. Despite its vintage airframe, the B-52J can carry up to 70,000 pounds of mixed ordnance, including gravity bombs, cruise missiles, and hypersonic weapons, ensuring its relevance in modern warfare. The updated bomber will serve multiple roles, from traditional bombing to launching hypersonic weapons, potentially acting as a mothership for drone swarms, ensuring the U.S. maintains its competitive edge. Although it lacks stealth, its massive payload and updated capabilities allow it to remain a key component of the U.S. Air Force. The B-52J won't begin test flights until 2028, and this latest variant of the B-52 Stratofortress won't become operational until 2033. But when the bomber finally does join the Air Force rotation, it will carry an impressive array of weapons, and it will carry them in strong numbers. The B-52 has been a stalwart of the U.S. Air Force since the 1950s, 80 years after its introduction. The bomber is still relevant, with new variants planned to extend the airframe's service life for decades to come. Indeed, the B-52 will likely reach the 100-year mark of active-duty service. The same Air Force that is desperate to retire the F-22A Raptor after only 20 years of using what most consider to be the world's most advanced warplane has also operated a long-range bomber since Harry Truman was president. Despite the fact that there have been a total of 8 variants of this legendary bomber, the aircraft has basically remained the same in that time. Until now. The J represents a major modernization program. That's why the Air Force opted to skip I and go to J, because it is 2 generations removed from the B-52H. In fact, the immediate predecessor to the newest incarnation of the Stratofortress, which is known as the B-52H, was first deployed in the 1960s. All these modifications will ensure that the B-52 remains flying until 2050. In other words, a whole century after it was first deployed. I'd hate to harp on a point made earlier, but it boggles the mind that the Air Force is completely sanguine with keeping a bomber flying that was designed at a time before human beings had satellites in orbit and televisions were run off vacuum tubes, and they are completely gung-ho to retire air superiority stealth warplanes that are barely 20 years old. Anyway, the B-52J is expected to have several key capabilities that differentiate it from its predecessors. It will ultimately cost $48.6 billion for the overhaul. By the way, one of the most significant upgrades is the replacement of the bomber's original Pratt & Whitney TF-33 engines with the new Rolls-Royce F-130 engines. This change will increase fuel efficiency and range while curbing emissions, as well as significantly reducing maintenance costs. The new engines will also be quieter and produce minimal smoke, giving the B-52J a stealthier profile. That last bit is key to this. As it stands, the Air Force has made a concerted effort for decades to transition its forces to stealth. This makes sense, given the kind of countermeasures that American enemies are developing. Yet, for the duration of the Air Force's stealth craze, they relied upon an old bomber that was anything but stealthy. In addition to the new engines, the B-52J will receive a new radar system, a modified variant of the F/A-18EF Super Hornet's APG-79 AESA radar. This new radar will provide the bomber with greatly improved radar range and situational awareness, while also taking up less space than the older mechanically scanned radar. The B-52J will have a cleaner look, with the removal of blisters that currently house the AN/ASQ-100 and 51 Electro-Optical Viewing System. EVS. The B-52J is expected to be a versatile platform capable of carrying a wide range of weapons, from gravity bombs to cruise missiles and hypersonic weapons. This flexibility will allow the bomber to engage the enemy with affordable mass, precision-guided munitions, and highly specialized, exquisite weapons as needed. The USAF plans to have a fleet of 76 B-52Js, which will be the result of the modernization of the current fleet of 76 B-52Is. The new Stratofortress is expected to be available for operational use by the end of the decade, with the initial operations capability, IOC, expected in 2033. Of course, it wouldn't be a new weapon system designed by the Pentagon without complications. The program has experienced delays due to issues with both the new engines and the new radar system. Funding shortfalls have hampered the timely completion of design for the B-52 commercial engine replacement program, and the B-52 radar modernization program has also seen costs explode to cover the variety of technical issues that have cropped up during the course of the modernization drive. With so many systems moving to drones, and with the advent of highly complex air defense systems protecting possible targets of these bombers, what is the point of these systems? These are valid questions and concerns. Ultimately, though, B-52s have long served multiple roles, from bombing distant targets to launching hypersonic weapons to being used as testbeds for new platforms. Therefore, despite the cost overruns and complications, the B-52J is still a worthier investment than in the Air Force's ridiculous Next-Generation Air Dominance (NGAD) platform. The B-52J is expected to be a versatile platform, capable of carrying a wide range of weapons, from gravity bombs to cruise missiles and hypersonic weapons, Brandon Weichert writes. This flexibility will allow the bomber to engage the enemy with affordable mass, precision-guided munitions, and highly specialized, exquisite weapons as needed. The B-52 is somewhat anachronistic, as the rest of the Air Force relies on stealth technology. The Stratofortress, of course, was developed before the advent of stealth, and it is not fit to fly in contested airspace. Still, the Air Force is betting on the B-52 to deliver enough of a payload to compensate for the shortcoming. Sometimes, as Air Force doctrine implies, an old-school bomber, albeit with updated weapons, is sufficiently equipped for contemporary combat. As the B-52H enters its 7th decade of service, there are no plans to retire the type. As we have discussed regularly for years now, the U.S. Air Force has laid out a host of upgrades that will see a jet designed with slide rules become a networked, high-tech, multi-role, long-range platform of the future, and potentially serving for over a century. This deeply revamped Stratofortress that will serve alongside the B-21 Raider will be known as the B-52J. If you enjoy content like this, please go ahead and like and subscribe to this video because I appreciate all your support.